And here she is, a Demon, and I'm not driving it. So who is driving the Demon? Who's driving the Demon? Is it my wife?
Well, I didn't die.
It's Parker Nierenstein.
What's up?
Vehicle Virgins. People are tripping that I'm letting other people drive my Demon, dude.
Well, it's not totaled. Yeah, thank you for letting me drive this. It has way more traction than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna, you know, spin like a top.
Yeah.
But
I had a shoebox ready to put whatever was left of the car in it when you came back. So
I was gonna say, I don't know if you were like excited for me to come back with it totaled or back in one piece. But
I started to think after I told you that if you crash it to total it, that insurance would probably give me MSRP.
probably, yeah.
That would be bad.
Well, trust me. I've never, knock on wood, I've never crashed a car yet. I'm not trying to crash one now. He's got the same, this was, I wouldn't say the car that started it all, but the car that transcended my YouTube channel.
It did.
It was like, spent everything I had on a 2004 Gallardo, and it was the same spec.
You're the reason I bought this thing.
No way.
I put into to YouTube, you know, reliability of the Gallardo, and your video came up.
All right.
So thanks for doing those videos.
Of course.
So today I'm going to do the 5 things I hate about the Demon.
Heck yeah.
So that's what you're going to get to see now when he takes off in his plaid. And I do want to get a picture next to the plaid in the middle of the street.
100%.
So I can clickbait everybody into thinking that we're going to race.
We traded? Or racing, yeah.
Even though...
Hopefully I don't pop a tire on the way home.
Right, that's the thing. So, but thanks for doing it. And
Thank
you know
you.
what? It gets more exposure for Dodge, and
100%.
it brings more people into the community. And I figured, dude, you know, you got a great channel. I aspire to...
Thank you.
To get there one day. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I want?
What?
100,000 subscribers.
It's doable.
And then I'll shut the channel down. I just want the plaque.
No, that's when you're just getting started.
I just want the plaque.
I will say, as dumb as it is, some of my favorite things in the world are the 100,000 plaque and the million plaque. It's just
what do they give you when you get to 2?
It's a stupid thing, but to me it means a lot.
Is there another one when you get to 2 million?
No, 10 million.
So 2
once
million.
you get the million, you go, oh, well, the next one's never happening.
Jeez. Well, thanks, dude.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Seriously.
And folks, we'll start this video in a second. We're going to get a picture, and I'm going to kick him out of your Berlin and go back to LA.
Cool.
Where the rich people are.
I don't know about that.
And we're back. And go check out Vehicle Virgins to see the video on the Demon 170. And those of you that think I'm nuts, hey, welcome to the party. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. And I don't care. I trust Parker. I've known Parker for a very long time. And he's an inspiration to me, having built a huge 2.4 million subscriber channel. And you know what? It'll bring some awareness to these things, and maybe it'll bring me some more subscribers, because I certainly want to grow this channel to 100,000 and get my plaque someday hanging around my neck. It'll be awesome. And no, I'm not going to kill the channel when that happens. But there's been a few times I wanted to kill the channel, but I don't think I'm ever going to kill this channel. So don't worry about it. I'm going to torture you all forever with these videos. But today we're going to talk about the 5 things I hate about my Demon 170 because, and why am I going to do that? Because those videos do good. Just being honest with you, those videos always do good. And there are things about this car that are not cool, that don't work for me. But it's exactly the way the car probably should be for the most part, with the exception of a couple things. But I think that for me, there's some things about this car that just make no sense, and I think Dodge, I wish they would have done it a little differently, but for so many of you out there that bought this car for what it's made for, it is absolutely perfect. But for me, these 5 things, I've determined that they don't work for me. They're not the ideal situation. But please know that this is one of the most spectacular manufacturer built cars ever made, and I do think this is an incredible feat of engineering to have built this ridiculous monstrosity. It is spectacular, it is terrifying and exciting to drive. The word is exhilarating. It is an exhilarating car to drive, but these 5 things just absolutely make sense. And we've got a bunch of developments taking place that I just want to share with you all, because there will be some changes, there will be some things that I have to do over this next 3 or 4 months that are definitely leaving a lot of questions in the air. But I know this much: at the end of all of our life transition, we will absolutely be in a better place, a cooler place, a stronger place. But it's going to be a pain in the ass in the meantime, and I'm going to try to keep you all involved with the entire content and what's going on. And I want to ask you guys a few questions about your involvement in this, because it's not just all about cars all the time. Sometimes y'all want to hear more, and I'm happy to share with you more. Of course, the beautiful Swinger is there. I love this car. I think this car looks better than this car in almost every possible way, from the shaker hood to the wheels to the hood pins. They should have did hood pins on these things by factory. It's a race car. But this car looks great with the sublime paint job. It's just perfect. I love this car. But this is a different kind of love. A different kind of love. This is one of those things where you love it because it's outrageous. You love it because it's ridiculous. You love it because it was done. Just for the simple fact that this was created, you can't help but to love this thing. But these 5 things kind of make a few points that I think are worth sharing with everybody in case you are still waiting for yours to show up and you are contemplating, like I was heavily contemplating, whether or not to buy this thing, until the day it came and I realized at MSRP, if I don't buy it, I'm an idiot. Even though I know these 5 things, I know a few of these 5 things were definitely big obstacles, but for MSRP, I'd be an idiot as a business person not to buy this car and experience this car and bring some content with you all. So we'll see how this video does with the Demon content. But now let's jump inside and get into these 5 things. All right, so real quick on a personal note, real quick, I'll put a timestamp below for all of you who can care less about the personal note stuff, and you can go right to the 5 things. You can skip past all my stuff, and I know some of you do not want to hear me talk, so just go straight to the 5 things, and we're good. We are good. No need to say something nasty in the comments. But for those of you that have been following a long time, that frankly grew up with us, grew up with our daughter. I mean, she was playing, you know, with me in my videos back 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I mean, she's been in, there's old videos with her that you're part of the family and you feel like you've watched her grow up. You were there when she got her license and got her first car. I mean, all this has taken place. So my wife had her double mastectomy and went through the cancer screening scare and all these things. We've been through a lot of stuff. When I've shared with you the loss of my sister and my dad fighting Alzheimer's right now, and you know, you've been there. So you're part of the family, and whether you like it or not, if you've been watching a while, welcome to the family. Now, you're not going to be in the will, but you get a honorable mention. So you are all part of the family. And if you're not, because you just joined in, wanted to hear this thing, that's cool, fast forward. So want to share with you all, so many people have said, you got too many cars, you guys need to get more parking. That's ridiculous. You've got cars on the street, you've got cars in the driveway, you've got cars in the garage, you've got, it's stupid. The Lamborghini's jammed in sideways in the garage, and we got to clean that thing out. We've got all this stuff, and my wife's been, some of you heard me mention this, for months and months now. Every day, my wife is online shopping for houses. She's shopping to find that perfect house with lots of parking, lots of room for Kendall and her friends to hang out, like a loft or something, and great, lots of room for us. The only problem that, you know, I'm going to solve is that in Orange County, California, you're going to spend $1.2 to $1.5 million to get a house that's in the size we want, amenities in the neighborhood we want. So yeah, I'm a little stressed out, but it's getting closer. So we figure sometime between now and summer at the very latest, we will be moving into our new place, and you will all be semi part of that as you see it take place. And I'm looking forward to that process. Now, one thing I told my wife, I said, I think we should just buy a much smaller house, and then I'll get a shop, like a 1,500 square foot shop in a commercial facility with a large garage, one of those really cool shops that have a big, huge garage door and an office and everything. And we'll make that into a cool car hangout for Kendall and all her friends, and me and my friends, and all the cars, and it'd be great. And a pool table, and extremely well secured locked up bar, and bend pack lifts, and all that cool stuff. And so I'm working on that, but just stay tuned. We're working this out. She's been on the job for months now. I've just not been in the mood to make that move, but you know, it's gonna make some sense. So stay tuned. Big changes, big life changes, but some positive things happening very soon that are going to stress me out. So hang in there with us, but I just had to share that with you. So now let's talk about the 5 things that I hate about this car. And the first thing, I'm going to turn this thing off, and I'm going to get out, and I'm going to share this with you. All right, so I'm not the only one that's talked about this on YouTube. Kamacat, if you watch his videos, which I don't, I've gone on there because he's got a 170, but I'm a good kid, but he talks way too fast for my slow brain. But bottom line is his 170 does this as well. But then I saw another guy's 170 the other day at Cars and Coffee, and his did not do this. So check this out. You see that? Freaking hazards blinked. I don't know. Anyways, here's what happens. So we're in this little locked position right here, and I'm going to go ahead and just slide it closed, and it doesn't close. Now this does not happen on the other cars. Watch. Let me show you. So I don't know if this is build quality. I thought it was just the way this car was, but it doesn't. So let me see how hard I need to go to get it to do it. Nope, that's harder. Let's try it a little harder. Nope. I've got to give this thing a heck of a swing. There we go. For it to close. Now let's check the Scat Pack and see the comparison. Now this is an issue, but not as irritating. So watch this. Alright, so we're going to put the door in the same position on the Scat Pack and see what happens here. It's fine. Same amount of pressure. Let's go. So this one's fine, but this thing, both doors are like this. So we'll go back here, do the same, and it doesn't do it. It stays open. So you've got to, even if let's try swinging a little harder. Nope. Let's go a little harder. Alright, so just takes a little bit harder swing. And the only reason it bugs me is for the price of these cars, especially for what people are paying with the markups, you know, 200 plus for these cars, that to have that scenario on some and some not seems a little strange. And it's not something I'm going to make a big deal about, but it just doesn't want to close. I thought it was just air pressure in there, but nope, doesn't matter what I do. It is what it is. So now let's talk about number 2. What's the difference between the black key and the red key?
The black one looks better.
Black one looks better?
Yep.
All right, see? That's my point. So, that was my wife. Those are 2 random cats. That was my wife. To this day, she still does not know that the red and the black key on my red eye serve 2 different purposes. She thought, and she picked, when I put 2 keys out, and she said she wanted to drive my car sometimes, I said, which key do you want? And she snatched the black key up. She goes, the black key looks better. Well, on my red eye. So for the 2 years that I owned that red eye, she always had the black key. And I said, cool, that's your key, and this red key's my key. And I took the other red key and I hid it away. To this day, she still does not know the difference between the red key and the black key, which meant she was driving my car around at the 500 horsepower on the red eye, but on this thing, there is no black key. So the only key that she can use is the red key. And the red key means that we're sitting at 1,025 horsepower. And that means that I've got my lovely wife driving around with 1,025 horsepower. I don't know about y'all. Whoops. There you go. I don't know about y'all, but that's terrifying. She's a great driver. But I would just love to be able to give her the black key. And same with valet, same with, you know, a friend of mine would, maybe even my daughter. If I let her take this thing to the local Cars and Coffee one day, I'm not sending her out with this thing. So I would really I would have liked it more had they still allowed us to have the 500 horsepower option limiter on this car with the black key. That would have been brilliant. And when it showed up and they handed me 2 red keys and no black key, I was like, please, can you give me the black key? Because my wife still thinks the black key is the right key. But it's not. So now she's got 1,000 horsepower. All right, let's talk about number 3. All right, so number 3 is the gauges. The gauges are great. You can get everything you want to know about this engine when it comes to temperatures and stupid. All right, so I'm gonna add one. Waiting for this thing to load. That's number 6. We'll just put that as number 6. Performance pages loading. It's like starting up a 1980s Windows machine. This is, come on, with all the computing power that we have on Earth right now, the power of my iPhone, there, that was a long wait. Anyways, that wasn't even on the list, but the point I want to make is when you go to the gauges, you've got an access to tons of temperature gauges and pressure gauges. You get oil temperature, you get coolant temperature, battery voltage temperature, you've got trans temperature, boost temperature, air fuel ratio, IC coolant temp, and intake air temp. But you know what's missing? What Parker shared with me is there's no tire temperature. Something I think we would all like to know. Before I handed him the keys, I did drive this thing around to heat up the tires a little bit just to make sure the car was as safe as possible, but there is no tire temperature. And I looked for a couple $100. You can get aftermarket devices to tell you your tire temperature, or you can just get a little scanner thing you point at the tires, it'll tell you, but then you got to get out of the car to do that. But all the different gauges, no tire temperature gauges, which sorry for the glare, which just seems like a little bit of a miss. All right, let's talk about number 4. All right, number 4 is where you're gonna blast me in the comments, and I get it. This car was built for the track. This is a track weapon. It is one of the most incredible, powerful track cars right out of the manufacturer you can buy with a warranty. But here's the challenge. With the 2018 Demon, it came with the wide tires on the front, the all seasons, which kind of suck, but you can put summer tires on. You could put Mickey Thompsons on. You can do things with tires. And then you would have the wide body as well, and you could drive the car every single day on the road. You can drive it as a daily driver, just like my Red Eye. I was able to daily drive. I daily drove my Red Eye for about a year and a half. It was my primary car. I mean, I got rid of my BMW 7 Series and Scat Pack, and I drove that Red Eye until I got my Prius. But I drove that Red Eye more than I drove that Prius because it would work great, not only on the street, but if you want to take it to track, throw some different wheels and tires package on the back, throw some skinnies on the front, which might have been hard because of the brakes, but nonetheless, you could take it to the track and still do some fun stuff. And they're at the tracks all the time. This thing is built for the track right out of the gate when you get it. The 2018 Demon came with a crate. That crate came with skinny tires, skinnier than these tires. I believe these are the same size as like the SXT. The skinny tires in the crate, as well as everything you needed to go to the track. Then you would prep your car for the track. You would take it to the track, and then you would change out the tires, and you would put this thing out on the track and boogie down. This thing comes ready for the track. The thing is with the 2018 Demon, you can drive that thing every single day. I see them on the road. I see them at car shows, see them at car rallies. It's perfectly set up to be a great street car. And then you could take it to the track and convert it to the race car. Well, this car is a race car, and I knew that buying the car. Like I said at the beginning, I wasn't going to back out of this, even though I knew that it was going to be probably the most useless car I would ever own in my life unless I'm spending tons of time at the track. And I applaud guys like Racer X who actually will spend a lot of time at the track. Me personally, I won't. Will I get it on a track once or twice? I would love for that day to come, but it will be rare. The vast majority of the time, I'll be wanting to drive this thing around, but if it sprinkles a little bit of rain, if there's any water on the road, suddenly this thing becomes a terrible death trap with the drag radials that are on the back. This thing is unsafe. You even sign a disclaimer understanding this car will try and kill you. When you put ethanol in it, you're getting about 30% less gas mileage. I'm averaging about 120 miles per tank on ethanol, about 160 miles per tank on the regular premium unleaded. So to drive this thing daily like I did my Red Eye, or even a Demon from 2018, it would be, I would fill up two times a day, and it's possible if I'm traveling from one region to another, San Diego to the desert, that I might fill up a third time at the end of the day. So I could not drive this. That's not what it's for. This car has taken what was really great in the original Demon, where it had the versatility for the street, and then for the track, it's taken it to, this is a track car. And if I wanted to go stick some regular tires on the front, I would have to get them on that little skinny wheel, so I would still have the smaller tires, which are still not as safe for traction, turning, everything I would want to do on the street. And so if I put wide ones on there, it would stick out, so I don't have the fender flares. So bottom line is, this thing is built for the track. And I love that about this car. And I think everybody does know that, and I certainly knew that. And I wasn't going to back out of the deal knowing that, because I can clean up on this car if I wanted to right now. But the bottom line is, what's it going to do for me? It's going to sit in my garage a lot. It's going to come out on the weekends when the weather is good, and it's going to go out to Cars and Coffee and hang out with my buddies and do some bunch of videos with you all, and then hopefully go to the track once or twice, and then it's going to go back into my garage. So I kind of agree with some of the YouTubers that are out there doing a lot of race stuff with their cars that I don't think people realize. I think there's two groups of people that are going to keep these things in their garage. It's going to be the people who race them and the people who are speculating and are going to collect them. Outside of that, if you commute 2 or 3 miles away every day, then maybe you're good. But if you're commuting any distance at all, you're not going to want to drive this thing. One, you're going to just kill the value. But forget about that. You're going to not want to drive this thing because, frankly, it doesn't handle well. The suspension is built for the drag strip. I love that about this car. So before you comment, just know I love that this car is a race car, absolute just track weapon. But unlike the 2018 Demon, there is no real purpose for you to take this thing on the street. And I know people are going to argue with me, and you could do that. These tires are not going to last you very long at all. These things are so soft, so gummy. I met a kid at Cars and Coffee who only had 400 miles on his car, was doing burnouts, and is before the break-in period, and the tires were completely just all sticky and tore up and chewed up from just doing some burnouts. Unlike with this thing, I think I did a burnout today, and the tires are fine because they're hard and they're going to last a long time. And Tuesday morning, I'll be back in this thing, driving it to work every single day. All right, so I don't regret buying it. I'm glad I have it, and I will definitely have fun in this thing. But certainly, if you are thinking of buying one of these, just to understand, this is not set up for the street. I mean, you can, and I did, and I do, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And without the black key and everything else, you're going to kick yourself big time if you buy this for anything other than racing it, or frankly collecting and speculating on the future value of this thing. That's about the two things I think it's worth. Now somebody's like, I would drive it every day. You'll be at the gas station 3 times a day. You'll be buying tires every single month. And by the way, these tires, looking somewhere between $200 and $2,500 for a set of 4. Probably a little over $1,000 for the back ones. So that's cool. $1,000 a month, no big deal, right? Yeah, it's a big deal. So if you're going to the track, that makes sense. You know what you're getting into. All right, number 5, the one thing that so many of you have commented about, so many of you have mentioned, and it's been frankly viral online. It's people just don't like the skinny front and the wide back. And I understand that. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. Let's look at this. That looks amazing. It looks nasty. It looks mean. It looks stable, rock solid. I mean, if I need to do some corners in this thing, it looks solid. And frankly, it really is. But this was built for the track. So doing skinnies on the front made all the sense in the world. But remember, the 2018 Demon had the wide body, so you can have the wide tires in the front, so you can get the great street cornering ability, and you can have fun in that car on the street. This thing, you have one option, and it is skinnies in the front, wide body in the back, and it definitely throws the body, the look of the body off, and the entire personality of the car. Now, because it's a 170, we've all forgiven this, and we accept it because it's perfect for racing. You're saving, 15 pounds or something like that from not having the fenders on there. But for those of us that plan to drive this beast on the street, we wouldn't have minded that. But on the track, again, you want it like this. This makes all the sense in the world. But it just doesn't look as good. But it still is a beautiful car. I'm not bashing on it. It's just sexy as can be. But it is absolutely not as good looking as the wide body, and frankly as the 2018 Demon, and as practical as the 2018 Demon in any possible way. That's number 5. So let's jump in and we'll wrap this video up. All right, folks, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll just wrap up by saying, hey, look, I love this car. This is one of the most incredible cars. Just getting an opportunity to own this car, to drive this car, to bring this car into my household has been a dream come true, a privilege. It is phenomenal. Love it. Useless as the day is long for almost anything I'm going to use it for, but absolutely incredible considering that I didn't pay $100,000 over, and that when I go to Cars and Coffee, I'm one of the most popular guys there, so that's cool. And if I get to the track, I won't have to do anything other than just drive onto the track and stomp on it and boogie down the road. So it is a amazing car. But again, these videos do good. Hopefully this one will too. And I appreciate all of you watching, appreciate all of your support over the years. We just passed 66,000 subscribers. So please like and subscribe. Help us get to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Go check out Vehicle Virgins, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.